The worst wildfires in decades on the Mediterranean island of Cyprus have killed at least 4 people. Raging fires have wrecked dozens of homes and destroyed pine forests. The victims are thought to be Egyptian farm workers. The European Union and Israel have sent in water-carrying planes to help tackle the blazes.
As the wildfires raged through the Troodos mountain range, residents of at least 8 villages were forced to evacuate. Homes and vehicles were gutted by the flames. Entire communities razed to the ground. Villagers described the moment they decided to flee. As soon as we saw the fire approaching, we got in the car and drove off. We told the authorities there was a fire, but unfortunately the planes and the fire services arrived very late. Help also came too late for 4 Egyptian farm workers. Their bodies were found 600 meters from their burned-out car. Police say they appear to have fled their vehicle on foot in an attempt to escape, but ran towards the wind-fanned flames. The president of Cyprus visited the area. He promised to help all those affected by the fires. I reassure you that our support to all the people will be decisive. We will compensate whatever is possible to give people back hope and help them survive this tragedy. More than 55 square kilometers of forest and farmland have been destroyed by the massive fires. From the air, the scale of the destruction is clear. Authorities say the main blaze has now been partially contained, but the fear is that the flames could intensify if strong winds reappear later.
Let's get more now from DW radio correspondent Nathan Morley, who's in the town of Ayia Napa on Cyprus. Thanks very much for joining us, Nathan. Tell us, how bad are these fires exactly? What's your assessment?
Well, I think they're pretty bad as far as Cyprus is concerned. We've had to deal with wildfires for many years. Obviously, we're in a very warm climate country, and we have temperatures at the moment of around 40 degrees Celsius. So the scrubland is very dry, but this particular fire, which broke out yesterday at around midday in the mountains, spread very quickly. The fire was out of control within a few hours, and then there were mandatory evacuations, and we were hearing of property and cars being burnt. And then within the same day, by early evening, it became apparent that it was out of control and it had a perimeter of around 35 kilometers. So it's massive. It is a very big blaze.
So an out-of-control fire that spread so quickly. Of course, this has meant that the firefighting effort has had to become international. Help's been brought in. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, indeed. Cyprus were dealing with it until mid-afternoon yesterday. Then it became apparent that this wasn't working. They needed international help. Now, the latest I have is that 2 planes have arrived from Greece with a crew of 25, some of them on the ground, of course, some of them in the air. RAF helicopters from the Royal Air Force, the British Air Force, who are stationed at RAF Akrotiri nearby, they're up dropping water up in the mountains, and also aircraft from Israel are also here as well. The European Union are also considering other options depending on how things go.
And Nathan, we understand that Cypriot authorities have been making some statements. What are they saying?
Pretty much what you were saying at the top of the show. I mean, the Justice Minister made some interesting comments. He was saying this is the most devastating fire the island has ever seen. And those words were echoed, funnily enough, by Haralambos Alexandrou from the forestry departments, who's worked in firefighting all of his life. And he said this is the worst fire, period, in the history of Cyprus. The president of Cyprus said the same. And they are giving out advice, of course, because the weather here is absolutely sweltering. Basically, take precautions. No cigarettes, don't throw them out of the car. Barbecues, don't barbecue in forest areas. And basically use common sense. And they say that the next few days are going to be tough because the fire is not yet fully under control.
And that was DW radio correspondent Nathan Morley reporting on these devastating wildfires in Cyprus. Nathan, thank you very much.
Thank you.